this is math for Thursday, September 10th. So the first thing we did as a group is we went over these 4 questions. You can do this on a separate sheet of paper, and I'm going to give you some time to work on it. Just to give you some heads up, some of the struggles that we had today were on place value. So going back over the place value would be a really helpful tool to make them stronger in the working with these numbers, okay? So I'm going to give you a second to pause and to work on this. When you're ready, come back on. The next section that we did was I went over and re-clarified and had everyone go back into their math journals and go and rewrite another place value chart. And it seemed to really help make the students a lot more comfortable with it. And so I told them anytime that you are working with numbers and they talk about place values, to rewrite a place value chart above their numbers. And what I mean by that is to have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s, and the 100,000s written down. Another error I saw today is when they were reading the number back to me, they were forgetting to just chunk the numbers. So 754,893. We had some students that were going 700,000, 54,000. And so really just that's a common mistake, and a way to quickly fix that is just to chunk those numbers just like the numbers. Just look at the first 3 numbers or however numbers you have before your comma, and whenever you see that comma, that is when you say the thousands. And as you get through the other grade levels, it'll be millions and billions, okay? But and also another thing is I wanted to show them and recognize and point out the patterns that you see. So in the ones place value, you see how it's red, and in the 1,000. That is the starting point of a period. And the ones period has the ones, the tens, the hundreds. And you notice how it's red, green, blue. Then you come here and then it's red, green, blue. So the pattern there is the first one is the name of that period. So this is the ones period, this is the thousands period. So you do the thousands. Then you have the 10,000s, just like you would have the tens place next after the ones. And then as you see after the tens place, you have the hundreds, thousands place, just like you have the hundreds after the tens. So I'm going to give you a second to rewrite and make another one of these place value charts inside your math journal. Okay, now that you're back, as a group we discussed and we talked about what number this created. And overall, most of our students got this really well, which I was very, very impressed with. And they all told me that this number was 1,111. And they were correct. And what I told them and we discussed is to notice that math has a lot of patterns involved. And if you see my pointer, I asked them, how many of these 1 cubes does it take to equal one of these rods? And they said 10. So it takes one of these, it takes 10 of the unit blocks to equal 1 rod. And then we asked them how many rods does it take to equal a flat? And they said 10. And then this was a challenge, but they figured it out after a while that it took 10 of the flats to equal one of these big cubes, the 1,000 cubes. So what we looked back at is we said that every time you move left of your place in the place value, you would go up by a group of 10, by tens, times 10. What I mean by that is 1 times 10 would get you the tens place. 10 times 10 would get you the hundreds place. And 100 times 10 would get you the 1,000. And then as every time you move forward, you would multiply by 1,000. And so then we looked at this. This is another view that we looked at, that we had the cubes at 1 times 10 equals the 10 rod. Then 10 times 10 would equal the 100 rod. Then 100 times 10 would equal the 1,000 cubes. And then I had the students, they wrote inside their math journal each place you move to the left, you multiply times 10. And here was another really good visualization or representation of the pattern, that 1 times 10 is the tens place, 10 times 10 is the hundreds place, 100 times 10 is the thousands place, the 1,000 times 10 is the 10,000s place, and 10,000 times 10 would equal the 100,000. This is just a really good place and a way to represent the place value charts and moving from one place value to the next. We were also able to quickly go over and quickly just show you really quickly, we're going to work on this more tomorrow, what expanded form looks like. So you take the place value with the thousands and you have 2 of them, so it would be 2,000. You had a 4 in the hundreds place, so you would make it 400, a 20 in the tens place, and a 6 in the ones place. And you would put a plus sign in between each one in order to make the expanded form. We will go over that more tomorrow. So this is our math lesson for today. We discussed that with everyone. And remember, if you ever have any questions, feel free to remind me or text me or email me. So thank you very much, and I will be back on and post in tomorrow's math lesson.